aware that globally, 1 in 2 children suffer from cavities? That's why by giving her Pepsodent, you're not only protecting her teeth, but also helping her grow up and thrive at every stage of her life with a healthy and confident smile, so she can succeed and achieve all of her dreams. Because every smile matters.
Hello, thanks for staying on. It's still breakfast live on GTV. Follow our social media handles at GTV Ghana, and let's get into this conversation on politics. And the National Democratic Congress, NDC, has petitioned the Criminal Investigation Department, CID, to immediately arrest and prosecute the MP for Abetifi and Minister for Food and Agriculture, Brian Echampong, following some comments he made during a health walk at Impraeso in the eastern region. The Director of Legal Affairs of the NDC, Abraham Amaliba, said the statement by Brian Echampong is an affront to the Constitution and affects the security of Ghana. Meanwhile, the governing New Patriotic Party, NPP, has also filed a petition at the Criminal Investigation Department, CID, of the Ghana Police Service for the arrest of former President John Dramani Mahama. The NPP, led by its national organizer, Nana Boakye, said Mr. Mahama had on many occasions described the 2024 general elections as one of do or die for the NDC. So question is, why the politics of equalization? Is this just a tip of the iceberg as to what we are in for ahead of the 2024 elections? Many Ghanaians say hopefully not, but that's what we're trying to get into this morning on GTV Breakfast. I have Mr. Abraham Amaliba, Director of Legal Directorate of the NDC, on our Zoom platform. Also on Zoom is Mr. Adib Sani, Security Analyst. On phone, we'll be joined by Mr. Nana Boakye, National Organizer of the NPP. Gentlemen, good morning to all of you and welcome to the table.
Good morning, good morning.
I'll start with Mr. Amaliba, if you can hear me, please. You are petitioning the police to arrest the MP for Abetifi over his comments. And now the NPP has countered by saying then your hopeful for 2024 should also be arrested. Where do you see all this going? What's the point?
I consider what the NPP did yesterday as secondary school politics. They lack originality. The NPP cannot sit down and think on their own. It is not surprising that ever since the president took over power, he's been plagiarizing speeches. So all they do is to copy. Why? When those statements were made, the NPP didn't know the border on criminality and couldn't have gone to the police. Why did they wait till now? When we decided to go to the police, they decided to rake all things. So should we also go back to the police and cite Akufo-Addo, then opposition leader, when he said all die be die, or yeah, I come for BB, we have two balls, and that will show the BB kakra. Should we also go there? I thought that the police had shown the way. The police had actually indicated that they were no longer going to tolerate such speeches or such conduct by arresting our youth organizer in Kumasi. And so on that score, we said that once the police said they were not going to tolerate such comments any longer, then if you have states making those comments, it's appropriate to go to the police.
Some on the NPP side, Mr. Amaliba, some on the NPP side are saying that you're just slanting, you're just misinterpreting this so that you can gain favor, perhaps with the electorate. Is that what you're doing?
Why? Is it only the NPP alone? Is it only the NDC alone that was upping armed with his comments? Haven't you heard from civil society organizations? Haven't you heard from individuals who are not connected to the NDC saying that such comments coming from a minister of state, if this were a serious democracy, Brian Chapo would have been dismissed. And so what I'm saying is this: because those conduct by politicians have become one too many, the police started clamping down on that. And the police use our youth organizer in Kumasi as an example. Why would immediately would mount a platform and utter those unsavory comments? So as for the MPP petition is meant to obfuscate, to muddy the waters, to belittle what we did, to ensure that Ghanaians get confused over the issues and that this matter doesn't go anywhere. That's all. But I am saying that the MPP lacks originality. If they were vigilant and they meant what they are doing now, those comments were not made today. They were made some years back.
So do you condemn those comments then, in the light of what you've just told us? Do you now find the need to condemn some of the comments that your now presidential hopeful made back in the day, based on what you're saying?
So would you want us to go and define? You are a journalist. You may one or two occasions have said that today is all die be die. Doesn't mean that you were going to kill somebody before presenting the news. Is that what it means? So look, don't let us consider what the MPP did. It is just to muddy the waters. They lack originality. They are in the business of just cooperating. You remember when the president went and did the State of the Nation address, and then we came with a true State of the Nation address, they had to follow their chairman, who came and gave a hollow statement to counter. So they simply cannot sit down and think through, and that's why we are where we are today as a country.
Let me bring Nana into this, and he's also joining us, national organizer of the NPP, Mr. Henry Nana Boakye. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
To your what he's had to say about the reaction of the party in general to the comments made by Brian Achampong. I'm sure you've also heard other comments condemning what Mr. Achampong is saying. Do you still maintain that he said nothing wrong?
Before I come to that, I think that we should, on this platform, have a very civil discussion, and sometimes some of these words used. Look, Mr. Maliba is a senior lawyer. He's my senior at the bar, and he knows that he goes to court every other day, and people also come to court every other day. So if you go to court today, and somebody should also go to court the following day, or subsequent to your case, that means lack of originality. I'm surprised about this. And if you consider the petition he sent, our petition is not a counter petition. His petition is for Honorable Dr. Brian Achampong to be arrested, to be investigated and prosecuted. We did not send a petition in response to that. We have sent an independent petition also calling for the arrest of the former president, Mr. Mahama, and the national chairman of the NDC.
But he's questioning the timing of your petition.
No, I'm coming. Then he should have locked down the police CID office, and then so that he could have taken the keys to his home, so that nobody goes there to present any petition. That is an infantile argument. It's a distract that you present a petition to the police CID, and then you don't expect anyone else to present it. Why? Because the comments, as we have christened it, very unsavory. They are comments that has the propensity to destabilize our democratic stability. You are saying those comments were made some time past, and for that matter, it cannot be resurrected again. I'm surprised. He's a law lecturer. He knows that in criminal law, criminal offenses are not statute barred. Criminal offenses are not statute barred. Criminal offenses doesn't have any expiry date. So it can be resurrected at any point in time. And again, when you asked him that, is it the case that all the comments that Mr. Mahama made are condemned, he was trying to justify it by bringing in comments made by His Excellency the President, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. But yes, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo has been asked that all die be die. Would you have repeated same, giving a different platform? He said no. He wouldn't have. He had already shown remorse. That is a hallmark of a leader. So if you want us to believe that His Excellency the former president is also remorseful, then I think that you as a legal director, you should be able to condemn it. You're unable to condemn it, but the statement you are referencing are statements which the president has already poured remorse on. So what then the case? And again, this is not to say that we followed them because they sent a petition, because I have read their petition. And they are even find their petition not even hinged on any authority. And I was expecting that such a petition coming from the legal director of the NDC should have hinged the petition on some authorities. If you say that Honorable and the champion should be arrested, investigated, and prosecuted on what law, on what authority, what offense? He could not even cite any authority in this incompetent petition. So we did not, right, in any way imitate the incompetent petition they presented to the police EID. We went independent, and then what we have stated in our petition is that we are rather calling for the arrest, prosecution of Mr. John Dramani Mahama and John Sesedi for their treasonable conduct and for offensive conduct conducive to the breach of the peace, contrary to Section 180 and 207 of the Criminal Offences Act, Act 29. We have hinged, we have positioned, we have pivoted our petition on an authority. We were not pedestrians. We did not go to the CID shopping. We are not engaged in a fishing expedition at the police CID site, trying to throw anything. And we did not go there to do politics. When he started in his opening remarks, he said that what the MPP is doing in secondary school politics. We did not go there to do politics. If you went there to do politics, we did not go there to do politics.
Nana, may I find out from you, when the NPP, in the eyes of some...
Let me land.
I've been waiting for you to, so that I can ask my next question.
So what we went there to do, no, because he made some of these comments, it's important that I respond to them. We didn't go to the police EID. It is not a playground. We didn't go there to play. So if he went there to play, if he went there to do politics, we didn't go there to do politics. We are serious. Former President Mahama says that the NDC is a violent political party. They were born out of a revolution. When it comes to unleashing violence, they are second to none. They are unmatched. This is a horrifying statement. This is a dangerous statement. And then I string it up with a number of statements he's made. That the election is going to be a do or die affair, is going to be a boot for boot. So when you link these up, it is a horrifying statement. So come to the National Chairman statement on a platform when he was addressing his party faithfuls after he won the election, stating that they will do everything in their power to win these elections, even including sacrificing their lives. My sister, since when did elections in Ghana constitute sacrificing human lives? Since when?
So may I ask you now, when Mr. Champon makes a point that the NPP will do whatever it takes, no matter what, to make sure that this 2024 election goes a certain way, what does that suggest to you? Isn't that the same? Because we are talking about one side saying one thing and the other side appearing to say the exact same thing, but each of you parties, and this would go to Mr. Amaliba as well, each of you parties maintaining your positions to favor what your side thinks is the argument of the day. Will I be wrong to assume that?
I don't think so. Because, you see, listen to Honorable Granny Champon's comments very well. Analyze the content. He premised his statement on a particular set of facts. He said the NDC, they are of the view that they were going to project themselves to capture political power because of the economic downturn we have in the country. And this is because of COVID-19 and Russia-Ukraine war. He made that point in the audio. He further made a certain point that currently we are experiencing a certain glimpse of economic turnaround. We've seen that petrol prices are coming down. We've seen that the city is gradually stabilizing. The wish of the NDC, in fact, some of their communicators and then their national officers even predicted that the city was going to hit 20 Ghana cities. So a lot of things are rather coming down. And when we have the blessings of IMF and we have a deal with them, we are going to stabilize the economy the most. So if they thought that we're going to win the elections because of the economic challenges we have, then the NDC is going to collapse because we are going to win. So when he says that we are not going to hand over, he premised that on the economy, and it's because we are going to win. And I fully support it. He didn't say that whether MPP loses or MPP wins, we are not going to hand over. Or whether NDC wins or they lose, we are not going to hand power over to them. He never said that. He was rather charging the members that, look, yes, do not be dismayed. Be worried about the current economic issues we are going through. We are going to solve it, and we are not going to hand power over to them.
But it was the party that later came out to offer the explanations that you're giving us now, isn't it? Because after his statement caused the kind of uproar it generated across media platforms and on social media, then we saw the NPP side attempting to, explain away some of the comments that he made on that fateful day. And perhaps that's why people feel very concerned.
No, my sister, I don't think so. I don't think so because it was the NDC that truncated the comments he made to suit a certain agenda. So in some of the videos being circulated, you could see that all of these foundational comments he made, before he zoomed into the comments he made, it had been cut off. So they said that the man just made all of these comments in vacuum, and he never premised it on any set of facts.
Let me go to your colleague again, Nana, if you would finish this point, and then I'll come back to you to make other submissions. I want to go back to pick a few more thoughts before I return. Your last bite on this for this.
No. My last point was that, yes, so we cannot compare these two things. It will be comparing apples and oranges. He never said that NPP is a violent party, and then we came out of a revolution, and when it comes to violence, we are on march. He never said that we were going to kill for power. He never said that we were going to sacrifice our lives for power. He never said that. So these comments should be separate and distinct.
Separate and distinct, your final word. Let me go to Adib Sani now, who is our security analyst at the table this morning. Adib, isn't it, when you sit back and listen to the two sides of the argument, it seemed that both of them are, to me, essentially saying the same thing, just painted in different colors. Are you as confused as some people might be right now, or can you put a bit of clarity on the matter for us, Sani?
Well, a very good morning to my senior brother, Honorable Maliba Nana B. One thing, I found one thing profound, the fact that both of them agree in principle, perhaps indirectly or directly, that indeed this is not healthy for our democracy. This undermines state institutions. It undermines our values as a democratic state. We have chalked a lot of successes. And I do know that the use of intemperate language has serious ramifications on the peace and security of every country. Indeed, before the Kenyan election in 2007, there was an African Union early warning mechanism document presented to the authorities to the effect that, look, you guys have to be careful because the kind of language that is used on TV and radio might have some implications on your coming elections. And nobody did anything about it. And we all saw how it panned out. After the election in 2007, supporters of the People's National Union and the Orange Democratic Movement had to tussle it out in the streets of, Harare and other towns and villages, in which over 1,000 people were killed. The same can be said about the Ivory Coast. In 2010, before they went into their elections, there were some concerns, and it culminated into a civil war that ended in 2011. The Capitol Hill riots in Washington was caused because of the type of inflammatory language used, especially by Trump. He was asked, when you lose, are you willing to hand over power to the opponent, to your opponent? He said, no, there's no way I'm going to lose. Okay, so we do know the effects of these, kind of language that is flying around in our face. So for once, let's just pretend there's no NDC, MPP, and look at things from that nationalistic, perspective and ask ourselves, is it the right thing to say? Whether it is Brian Champon, whether it is, anyone from the NDC side, is it the right thing to say? Then let's put some of these things into perspective and charter a progressive course. And I think one of the reasons we are here today is because of the lack of law enforcement. I mean, when we were growing up, and I'm glad, we have to line. I mean, when we were growing up, we were told everybody is equal before the law. Is it safe to say today that, yes, indeed, everybody is equal before the law? When you have the big fishes saying all manner of things that could harm the security of the country and are left off the hook. And my fear is it might open the floodgates, So if action is not taken, when A or B says something, when C says it, you're patiently waiting to see what would happen because you thought the law has to be consistent in order to be effective. So I think this must stop somewhere. The police really has to take action. If not, we might have quite a bit of a precarious situation at hand as we go into next year's elections.
Sunny, does it make any difference, the kind of people who are saying these things, the fact that it's a cabinet member, it's a minister of state, an MP, it's a former president who also aspiring to be president again? Is it better or worse that these people are the ones saying these things? And what should that tell those at the bottom end of the chain in politics about how we should compose or comport ourselves in such a charged political atmosphere as we are finding out it's becoming?
Well, it is worse. It is worse. And I'm going to get a bit scientific with this. In sociology, there's what we call groupthink, when the opinions of a group affect, members. So obviously, politicians are like rock stars. They have millions of followers who they inspire. So whatever a politician says has direct implications on the thought processes of their followers and, of course, their behavior. Okay, so if you say certain things, it's impressions to the support base, and they will do whatever it is within their means to ensure that what you said comes to pass. So we cannot downplay the effect of such fiery, incendiary rhetoric from certain persons who should know better. I mean, these are statesmen who should lead the way. So when we have them saying some of these, and I must also say, I mean, in all sincerity, this cuts across the political divide. I mean, this is not constricted to just one side of the political spectrum. That is why I'm thinking that, hey, action needs to be taken as a matter of urgency, as a matter of priority. So we don't have it opening the floodgates for people to see as they wish. No.
What action would that be? Is it the way to go? Is this the way to go? The NDC calling for the arrest of Mr. Brian Champong, the NPP calling for the arrest of President John Mahama. Is that the kind of action you are talking about, Sani?
Okay, so it's quite obvious. It's very obvious that the NDC's decision to also, put in a petition is equalization. However, the question is it within the law? Is it within the remit of
what's
the law?
Equalization, Sani? Slow down for us. Explain that statement a bit more.
Obvious. It's quite obvious on the face value. Okay, it's quite obvious on the face value, and considering the timing, okay, that it happened as a result of what had happened previously. I hope you get me.
But Anabi is saying the NPP did not petition the office of the CID because of what the NDC had petitioned. He just spoke to us on the phone lines right now. You think that that's not the case and that it is equalization?
I'm curious to know when the NDC submitted their petition and when the NPP submitted their petition. But that is not really the issue right now. The issue right now is, are they permitted within the law to do so? They are. Okay, so I am hoping that the police is able to professionally look into this. So whoever has more, what other people have said in the past, maybe it can even be at the inception of the Fourth Republic, they are at liberty to do so, because we need to sanitize the system. I understand Peace Council intends meeting the various political actors. I don't know if that has happened, but I don't think this is all about meetings. No, this is about particularly law enforcement. We need to make sure that people are held to account for certain things they say, so it doesn't open the floodgates for anybody to just say as he wishes. And of course, the media also plays a role. Even though sometimes I see you put out a caveat, the guest doesn't represent ours, blah, blah. No, it does. Once your platform is used to sow discord into the population and to say things that has the tendency of dividing the people, you are complicit and you cannot run away from that. But that is why you also need to be very professional. You need to be able to manage the kind of things people come to your platform to see. Because in the end, we are all Ghanaians. When a government is in power, for example, this government, MPP, is a government for all. It is not a government for only MPP followers or, any other, group in the country. So let us be mindful of that and do things to protect the peace and security of the country that we have enjoyed since the inception of the Fourth Republic.
Right. I'll go over now to the Director Legal of the NDC, Mr. Amaliba, who's also on the phone lines. Sir, are you still with us?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. So we've heard from your colleague on the other side, Anabi, also reacting to some of the things you said. Our security analyst is saying that law enforcement is key, and is saying that because of the caliber of people who are involved in these speeches, both sides should be a lot more temperate and tolerant of each other's views, basically is what the point he was making. So I'll come back to my earlier question, which I posed to you and Anabi responded to. Should politics be a do or die affair? It's a call to serve from what people tell us. And so should it be about anybody dying?
I hope you would allow me, just as how you allowed Nanabi in his submission, to attack my person, because I'm about to also give it to him in equal measure.
I would take respectful comments on either side. I'll take respectful comments on either side.
In my submissions, if I use strong words, you see, it is arrogance to go to the police and state to the police that I am bringing a complaint and I want you to charge somebody, and I'm saying that charge that person under section 40 this or 45 or 20 of the Criminal Offences Act, it's arrogance. What you want to say is that the police in NDC are not arrogant. And so that is why we refrained from pointing at sections of the Criminal Offences Act. It isn't that in our daily work as lawyers, we don't know which sections can be used. It's just to be. So when an be in its imbecilic talk, in the way
I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to accept that. I want us to. I want this to be as temperate as possible, Mr. Amaliba. Respectfully, I will not be able to accept a word like that. Let's have the conversation devoid of.
Yes.
He said you were his senior at the bar. And that he knows that you're a law lecturer. I
expected that. He should have respected me.
So I will not be able to accept the other name callings. I'm willing to hear your arguments on the matter, even if you disagree. I'm willing to hear it.
Why did he describe me in such strong language as pedestrian? He knows I'm his senior. When I started the submission, I didn't attack his person. I will reply in equal measure when he continues that way. Now, on the substantive issue, we all have one time or the other heard about inflammatory language. We remember Wamafum. We remember Ghana will be like Kenya. We remember all those things. But I thought that the police itself, administration, drew a line, a red line, in my estimation. The police drew a red line. That red line came the day the police arrested our youth organizer. The police sent a message out there that it was no longer going to be tolerating such discourse. So we, in the NDC, in fact, handed over, we walked the youth organizer to the police offices, to the police station, if you saw the videos. Because they called me here in Accra, and I told them that they should hand over the young man, our lawyers in Kumasi, and our lawyers would accompany him to the police headquarters. We did that. And so, immediately coming after that, you have somebody who has a history, Brian Champon, who, in the Emerald Commission, was cited for having sent hoodlums and tax to Ayawaso West. And Ahavi Adib Sani is there. Ayawaso West was a blot on the conscience of this country. It gave us negative publicity under this administration. Who was the one behind it? Brian Chapo was at the commission and clearly indicated that he authorized those boys to go there. Now, such a person makes a comment such as this, and you think that we should allow it to go without taking the necessary precautions. I agree. I am not prepared to be carrying my children and my mattress crossing borders to another country. And so it is just because of that, we in the NDC thought that, can we make this report? Because I expected the police. The day we went to the police CID, it was 5 days when those comments were made. I expected the police, just as they did to our youth organizer, to have taken the step by themselves to invite Brian Champon. But because they didn't do that, we felt that, look, maybe the police is looking for a complainant. And because they are looking for a complainant, they may not act unless there's a complainant. And that's how come we officially petition the police. But normally these things, the police will clamp down on it by themselves. And so, to
Mr. Amaliba, I think we may have lost you there. I wonder if the others are still on the line. We were talking to Mr. Abraham Amaliba, Director of Legal Directorate. Yes, and that would be your final comment on this.
Brother Adib, that we have a plethora of examples all over the world where such unguarded statements have led to unrest, has led to civil unrest. It doesn't matter which of the political parties.
And I'll take those as your final comments on this. I'll take your final word, Nana Boakye, National Organizer of the NPP, and then I'll hand the very last word, a few seconds, to Sani to wrap it up. Nana, you've heard the arguments on the two sides, and like I said, we'll accept any comments that are temperate and respectful.
Yes,
and so let's keep the conversations very civil.
Let me even repeat again that I have a lot of respect for him. He's my senior at the bar. He's a lecturer. What I have never attacked his personality. He said that we went to the police CID to do secondary school politics. And I said, no. If he went there to do politics, I didn't go there to do politics. I went there and I presented a serious petition. And I also mentioned that, and it is never out of arrogance. I'm surprised. That is what it is. When we were being taught legal drafting, right? And you are writing petitions, you need to force your authority. I am surprised that he is saying that it is out of arrogance when you are petitioning the police CID and then you are hinging your petition on an authority. So Mr. Amaliba's heading is that he is calling for the arrest, investigation of Dr. Brian Champon. On what law? So it is crime practice. It is known everywhere. So I'm surprised. Maybe he didn't write it himself. I'm sure maybe he gave it to one of the junior people and then he signed. But then his junior person probably failed him. That is why I'm saying that the petition I've seen, the format, is even incompetent. It is not attacking you. And I've seen it. It is never true that when you are writing a petition or any legal document, and then you source your authority, it is arrogant. How? So I will not take it. Probably maybe he wants to hide this, because I know he's busy. And I know senior lawyers, they are very busy. They are handling so many cases. So I'm sure that one of the junior guys drafted it. The person did not do a good job. And I have the right to say personality. It will not be him.
I just want to be clear before we take leave. When Mr. Champon says it will never happen, that we, the NPP, will stand on a platform to hand over power to the NDC, you're saying he said nothing wrong?
Yes, that's my last. And again, since when did a certain red line purported to have been drawn by the police, since when did that line translate into an abrogation of a law? Since when?
I just want your response to that one, and then we beg you.
It's important that we should also learn it. It's important that I clarify these issues. That he's saying that the police drew a certain line, and because of that line, all other matters before now becomes stale. You cannot resurrect it. It is not true. The fact that the police have said that they are not going to take it again does not mean that if anybody committed a criminal offense in the past, it cannot be brought before the police. It is never true.
Nana, thank you for your time with us this morning. I'm very grateful. Nana Boakye is the national organizer of the NPP. Adib Sani, I'll give you the final word. What should we take from this conversation? We've heard two sides of an argument that, in principle, like you said before, are saying one thing, but then differing in their opinions on how that should be executed. What should the man in the middle think at this point? I think we may have lost Adib Sani there. But yes, we've been having this conversation on equalization politics, asking when it ends. We've been talking to the Director of Legal Directorate of the NDC, Mr. Abraham Amaliba, and we've also been engaging Mr. Henry Nana Boakye, National Organizer of the NPP, as well as Adib Sani, a security analyst, on the issue after comments by the Minister for Food and Agriculture went viral and drew condemnation. No final word on this matter, but as the days goes on, we are sure that some more conversations will be had. Peace is all we preach at this table. Tolerance is what we preach at this table. And we hope that you take that with you as you go about the rest of your day. The Breakfast Show continues after this break. We'll be back.